All right, we are at the end of day 2 now, I guess, officially. And the rest of the day was pretty straightforward. As it wasn't that crazy, I don't think. I kind of spent some time here editing footage and uh, did my own thing, kind of just relaxing at the hotel, just thinking about everything, kind of taking some stuff in. Um, and from what I've observed so far, there's an interesting kind of feeling that you get that stays with you a little bit. And it's more along the lines of recapturing that sort of essence of feeling of childhood, I guess, is maybe the best way to put it, where you have that I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like, again, that's probably going to be a repeating pattern with this. It's hard to explain. I'll try. All right, get off my back. So it's kind of like you're feel like almost like you're a kid again. Like, I guess not necessarily that it was that you're physically a kid, but like you feel like mentally like you have that energy and you have that drive back in a sense. And it's like you have that lingering questions that for something you don't know, and you're just observing everything like the rules of nature for the first time in a weird way. I went back over to Chris's about 6. And he was in the middle of meeting someone else that came over from Reddit. His name is Dan. He's a software engineer. No, I'm sorry. I should probably admit that. His name's Dan, and he actually works in helping in a outpatient care facility for like rehabilitation, for addiction, that sort of stuff. Younger than I am. He's an interesting guy. He was talking about how he thinks that smoking DMT kind of helps him. He didn't do it for any sort of recreational purposes. He did it to kind of help better establish a spiritual connection with something, because he didn't have any. From what he's told me, he didn't really have that kind of connection, and he wanted to foster that better. And he thinks that it's beneficial to him to have it helps him kind of more connect with his clients or his patients, who are all people that have drug addictions or whatever, that they're recovering from. So it helps him with his empathy, which is interesting. We played with the dogs a little bit at his place, at Chris's place, and man, I love Jed. Jed's a fucking dude. He's a dog, man. He's this fierce looking pit bull, but he's such a sweetheart. Like he's such a baby. He's like, he's just like sprawled up, belly up or whatever, laying across from me while I'm eating a burrito, and he just wants his belly rubbed, and that's all he wants. It's a cute dog. And then you have Clementine. I did learn her name. Clementine is so jealous of him that she'll just jump on him and just be like, "Arr, arr," and whenever he's getting attention from anyone else. And the fact is that she's also deaf, so she doesn't know the sound of her own voice, so it sounds really vicious when she's jumping and like going wah, 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 wah. But she doesn't mean it like that. She's just trying to play. But it sounds like she's fighting for her life. Like it's straight up, like it's a trip. So yeah, it's pretty fun. But yeah, it'll be interesting, I think, tomorrow. I think I'm going to push my flight back and dive a little bit deeper into this and see, what's going on. And I hope to God there is not someone watching this video, you know, a month from now, going like, no, 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 don't do it at the screen or whatnot. I hope this is a good idea to get to continue to do this. But it's a thirst for more knowledge and to try and extract more out of that. It's a curse, man. I got to know more. I got to dive into it more. Because I didn't get my breakthrough. We smoked again, and Dan had a breakthrough, and he sat by himself and he smoked, and he, underwent this breakthrough. And, I sat in Chris's room and I smoked again, and it's a little bit more this time. It was something like, I definitely got a lot of like visual hallucination sort of stuff. Like the room was definitely changing. And again, it's like this, it's, at least for me, it's more subtle. And I haven't experienced that holy shit moment that they keep talking about where they're transported to a different world. It's more like the layers of the world or perception that I'm perceiving now and that we perceive normally are kind of being not disconstructed or deconstructed, because that's too extreme, but it's like you can maybe see some of the puppet strings, I guess, for lack of a better word or terminology. And to be honest, I really still can't believe this whole thing is happening. This is so fucking wild. It is beyond crazy. That I'm even here, that I'm even doing this, and that it's like, it's feeling familiar in a way. Like to say that, like, when I did DMT, that you start to see some of these maybe hints or evidences that we could live in a simulation, and then instead of that being like this crazy, like, oh my god sort of thing, it's more like, oh shit, I knew it. Like, yeah, it sounds about right. Let's see, what else did we do? We just talked, and Chris is such an interesting guy. He lives next to these, because he lives in the valley, so he has all these houses next to him with, peacocks and like dogs and horses and all kinds of stuff. So like we just kind of walked around like up and down his place right across from, I think it's the 405, whichever interstate has the terrible traffic in LA. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's fucking all of them. This place is so congested, it's ridiculous. Anyway, we walked around, we just kind of talked about stuff, and sometimes it's hard to get a read on him, I think, a little bit. I think sometimes it's he can get really fired up about something, but at the same time, he can kind of get like just as equally kind of down a little bit, or maybe overwhelmed is a better word. But we were just talking, and we were, just kind of talking about our experiences or whatnot, and getting to know stuff better. And yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm jumping around because, like, honestly, this entire day, this past day or two, has been such a crazy whirlwind of stuff. I mean, feels like it all blurs together. I mean, when it's just weird. It's weird. So I think, with some of this stuff is that Chris must be under a lot of stress, just in general. I think, it's seems pretty intense, because he'll sometimes he'll get really kind of focused in, dialed in on something, and then he'll just sort of crash in a way. Like like, for example, it was like 8 o'clock, maybe 7:30 or 8. We were just kind of talking about tomorrow, and I'm like, well, because my flight is leaving or whatnot, I need to book another hotel room, and we were trying to decide whether a hotel is better or to do an Airbnb or something. And Chris just kind of was like, I just want to go to bed. I just don't want to deal with it. And to me, being out here, not really knowing too many people, and being like 1,800 miles away from home, I'm like, I need to kind of feel like I know what I'm doing. My game plan. I need to know I have a place to call home for this time, instead of just sort of flying by the seat of my pants with this sort of stuff. So I'm going to cancel my flight tomorrow and see if I can rebook it for maybe Tuesday, or probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we'll go from there. But I need to figure out where I'm going to stay for an Airbnb, because this place, I mean, it's a good hotel, but they also, for every new reservation that you make here, regardless if it's the same room or not, they charge you an additional, because it's a debit card that I'm using. Didn't bring my credit card, didn't think I would need it. They want to charge you the deposit each time you make a new reservation. So if I was just going to say, hey, I want to stay from Friday to Wednesday, they're like, okay, great. It's like $250 deposit, and then additionally the room every night. But because I said, hey, I want to stay here one night, and I'll just add on another night, and just add on another night, for every night that I'm adding on, it's an extra $250, because it's technically a new reservation. It's incredibly bullshit. It's dumb. It's straight up stupid. So I'm trying to think what else. I will be interviewing a friend of Chris's tomorrow, apparently, around 6. She is a pornographic actress, and she will be in, I think we'll have to think of a studio or something that we can do, but I'll be sitting down with her and talking with her kind of about the industry and all that sort of stuff. So I need to go over questions for that. It'll be interesting. And yeah, other than that, I think Chris is going to kind of relax a little bit tomorrow. He seems he seemed like he wanted to take a day or two off. He told me and kind of pulled me aside and said, I wish there was someone else to kind of take the mantle of this for a little bit, and because he needs a break. And God, I can't even imagine like the amount of doing DMT is frequently like this, and then having me stay with him and kind of ask him questions and interview him and kind of poke his brain for like 2 hours a day. I mean, we did that car ride, and that was like a 2-hour experience of me talking with Chris. And on top of that, he's on Reddit. And on top of that, he's awarding gold and silver and platinum. And on top of that, he's answering private messages. And then on top of that, he's trying to date around in these other women and stuff like that. So I can't imagine the amount of plates he's spinning. So it makes sense. And he kind of gets tired, and he's just like, dude, I need a break. So we'll see what happens. The DMT Chronicles continues. Is that what I'm going to call it? I don't know. Maybe. If I make it out of this, I'll think of a cool name, I think. Maybe. I probably won't, honestly. It'll just be something like dumb, like my diary. My DMT diary. Whatever. I am pretty happy, though. I was worried again, going into this, that I wouldn't be the same person after it. And I guess maybe, even though I haven't had a breakthrough, so I can't, again, speak to that level, I think that, I'm still me. I'm just having maybe a bigger picture, more sense of clarity or something. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Check-in will be tomorrow at 1, so I need to figure out what the hell I'm doing. So I need to go back and start looking at Airbnbs. I need to think of some questions for the pornographic actress. And yeah, that'll be that. That's all I got. Peace.